It was a day just like any other. Hanging out with some friends, drinking a little beer, playing some tabletop role-playing game. And yet, perhaps by chance, perhaps through sinister fate, a bathroom break winds up transporting you to an ancient castle, filled with deadly monsters and devious traps. And then, almost as soon as you've arrived, you're possessed by a demon, which actually turns out to be not that bad. But to be free, you'll have to fight the guardians of the castle and defeat its dark lord in a slightly less than epic adventure. Unepic is an action-adventure game where you take the role of an average nerd who finds themselves trapped in a big evil magic castle. Now, the game takes most of its inspiration from the old Castlevania series, and that means that mechanically, in addition to fighting off hordes of monsters, you'll be exploring the castle with the intention of filling in your map, collecting treasures, and eventually fighting bosses in set-piece encounters. Defeating enemies unlocks new portions of the castle to explore, although you may find yourself backtracking in order to complete quests or grind for experience. You see, in addition to action and adventure, Unepic also has several RPG elements. When your character gains enough experience, he can level up and you can choose what skills you want to advance in. Once those skills are high enough, you can then go to a vendor and use your money to buy new weapons or armor or even spells to add to your arsenal. All of your weapons and skills have different advantages in certain situations, and portions of the dungeon can be harder or easier depending upon your loadout. Now, as you progress, you'll have some opportunities to explore the dungeon, pick up side quests, and even uncover bits of the story. Typically, this is done through conversations with the spirit possessing you, with plenty of pop culture references. Now, in my opinion, what Unepic gets right is the structure of the game. The levels have a very classic look and a very familiar 2D design filled with all kinds of secrets and shortcuts. As part of this structure, the pacing is also very good. Each new area allows you to acquire new weapons and abilities as you explore. Combat is unfortunately a little underwhelming. There's not a huge variety of enemies. Most weak enemies can be stun-locked for infinity, so even the weakest weapon can defeat the strongest of foes, provided that you get the first hit in. And this kind of means that the only challenge you'll find is either when facing large groups of enemies or when fighting opponents who cannot be stunned, although even then there are strategies that you can exploit. Also, and this is even kind of a shock to me, I'm not a big fan of some of the RPG elements that it incorporates. I am, for instance, not a big fan of the random loot drops, or how stingy the game is with its skill points. I get like 5 points a level, and I've got over a dozen different skills to put them in. There's no way I'm going to see some of the top tier magic or equipment this way. Now, sure, it's my own personal opinion, but I'm of the mind that in action-adventure games like this, especially ones inspired by Castlevania, where it's just you against an entire dungeon, it's no benefit to the player to restrict what kind of weapons and spells you have available to you. Now, to its credit, the game does allow you to respec your points, but I'm not too thrilled about any game where I have to change all of my skills just to be able to use the legendary weapon I picked up. Still, overall, Unepic's a pretty fun game, designed and decorated as an imitation of what's come before. If you like 2D action-adventure games, then this will definitely scratch that itch. I give it 3 out of 4 stars, and my modest recommendation. Alright, thanks for watching. Now if you'll excuse me, it's time to rock and roll. Alright, Simple falling rocks, no problem. Oh, okay. All right, got the timing down this time. All right, gonna just run through here. Should be no more problems. All right, I got this. Oh, okay. All right, no more talking. I gotta buckle down.